to start, actually, Justin, why don't you tell me what the applied working experience is?
Yeah, so that was a initiative that I joined as part of Queen's University, where I'm currently in a master's degree, to help businesses that are struggling right now because of the pandemic. And that struggle is kind of like going two ways that I don't think many people seem to like. I mean, there's the obvious, like, you have a drop off in revenue because you can't operate. But then the other side of it is like a lot of businesses are super overwhelmed. Your demand either just like completely dropped or spiked out of nowhere. And at the same time, there was a lot of students, undergrad students who had internships and co-ops lined up for the summer, and they lost those as well. So we kind of developed this as a way to like, how can we match students that are out of applied work experience and all these businesses that need it, and sort of like just feed the ecosystem that way and make it a win-win for everybody.
Oh, cool.
So something that started just in Kingston here, where I live, and then eventually branched out nationwide. So now I think we have something like over 150 businesses signed up, over 500 students. And it was something like, it's just going back to what you said, like, just say yes to this. And we all agreed this is something that we should be doing. And we figured it out as we went, and we didn't take the time to like sit on it and what's the best way to market this and how should we best go about doing that. We just started like reaching out. Do you need help? Do you need like applied work experience? Okay, here you go. You're matched 1-to-1.
Oh, that's awesome.
And figuring it out as we go along. So yeah.
Cool, man. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, hold on. I'm breaking everything here now. Exit full screen. I just hit full screen by mistake. Oh, that's really sweet. I didn't know you lived in Kingston.
Yeah, so I'm in Kingston. Tariq's in Windsor.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been here for almost 6 years now, which is crazy.
Cool. And you're doing your master's right now?
Yep. Yeah. I'm doing a master's program, and it's like a business program. So
wicked. Oh, cool.
Yeah. We lead busy lives, that's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's nonstop.
Yeah. Well,
even when it stopped.
Tariq, what have you been up to during the COVID stuff?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot. I guess a lot of it has been trying to focus on the live stream game as far as music is concerned. So I'm actually really, it's weird to say that I'm happy this happened. I'm not happy this happened, but I am glad that I had a chance to actually develop the live stream aspect of our band and develop like what that would look like and what we were capable of doing when we weren't on the road, right? And the situation sort of forces you to be like, okay, well, you have to figure it out now, and you have the time, so just do it. And it's been really fun, actually. I've started to do a lot more live streams on Instagram, both Justin and myself, things like teaching our fans how to play their favorite songs of ours on guitar.
Yeah.
Or Justin will teach them how to make a cocktail that he's working on. Or I'll just do a late night piano session where I take people's requests live and I try to play it for them, on the spot. So it's like interesting things that I honestly would have never imagined us doing that actually we're doing now and are going pretty well, I would say. So
that's cool.
That's one thing I've really been focusing on. I'm not really doing very much writing, only because we had just finished mastering the upcoming album that we're going to be releasing. So not that I'm not doing any writing whatsoever, but it's definitely not in like album writing mode right now.
Right.
I think a lot of people ask me, like, are you writing? But that's not really what's been going on. It's more the live stream stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from that, I actually work in physiotherapy. So
okay.
I've been seeing my patients over video chat. So very, very similar to this. It's like more of a medical like video program. But I've been keeping myself busy with that as well.
Sweet.
So yeah, very busy lives,
right,
even though we're not touring.
Yeah.
But you know what? The nice thing about it too is not only do I feel like people are adjusting in the music industry, but in almost every industry.
Definitely, man.
People are now starting to see where it's like, holy, like this is a really viable option for us. We can do things that maybe we thought were important aren't important anymore, and we can do things over the internet now.
Yeah.
People are getting like really lean. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need rent. Like, our friend works at an ad agency in Toronto, and I don't know if they for sure decided this, but they're looking at like, why are we paying rent?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we don't need to have all of that overhead. And obviously that's when something like this happens and you have a loss of revenue, it's like cut as many expenses as you can. And that one was like, yeah, we don't need this. And so they're looking at completely going virtual, and then just sort of like getting together if they need to have an in-person meeting or whatever. You rent a space and you go in, and then everyone comes out. The nice thing about that too is that you're like, if you're in a business where you have employees, your talent pool just like completely expands, because now you don't have to have only people who live in Toronto. Basically, if you're having this thing where it's like, yeah, just come in every once in a while, you can basically have anyone in the country.
Yeah,
right?
Or the world, really.
yeah, exactly. Depending on how often you need to be in person, but I think that's going to be one of the major lasting changes here. Is like, what have we learned about the way that we can conduct work, and just continue to have that flowing in and like reap the benefits of that. So
definitely. Yeah, for sure. I know on our end with Sideways, we've been trying to figure out a lot of, luckily we had, again, we started doing interviews in season 2. So I've been in charge of just editing those and putting those out. So that's been fine. But we've also, for the production side of things, we're like, well, what are we going to do? We got to make some sort of income. And so we've been directing people with shooting stuff on their iPhone, and then we edit it for them and usually do a weird color treatment or something like that.
That's cool.
So like just doing that whole thing, like Evan cool. being the video guy, like we'll say like, no, okay, leave it right there. And then like, we'll be like, okay, cool. We'll call you back after the shot. Like it's been a very,
that's
very
bizarre.
weird way to get things done. But yeah, it's adapt or die really at this venture, right?
Yeah.
That's
crazy.
What about movies or TV shows? Have you guys everyone watch Tiger King?
I haven't yet. I don't know if I'm going to.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, Tess, you probably know enough about it to like.
I basically
really
do.
To.
Yeah.
I watched it within maybe like the second or third wave of its popularity, maybe. So yeah, that's. I mean, it's a pretty crazy fucking story. Like, I don't know if I could swear on this. But
absolutely, please swear away.
Yeah, it's fucking crazy. I just
is it crazier than the Jinx?
Ooh. It's pretty.
Have you watched the Jinx, Frankie?
Crazy.
It's different, obviously, but it's there's a lot of like what the fuck moments where you like get up and table flip.
Okay,
I still feel like the Jinx takes the cake for having the most unexpected twist.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's still up there. But I remember in the Tiger King, like a lot of moments being like, wow. You know? I just it's more just surprising like how these people are.
Yes,
you know, like
definitely.
Joe Exotic, Carol Baskins, Jeff, whatever his name is his business partner. It was just kind of shocking that like, wow, there's real people that exist like this. Like you can't even write a character like him. You can't. I don't even know any, like nobody. You can't write this stuff, man. That's what makes it so interesting. So I don't know if it's worth you watching now, but
maybe wait.
I might now. You really sold me on it. I might do it.
Or you could wait for the movie to come out and you see Nick Cage be Joe Exotic. That's apparently happening.
I heard about that.
You a,
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe watch it and then give us a review. Call in with a review and let us know what you think.
Okay. Done. Yes.
Ozark. I think both Justin and I finished season 3 of Ozark.
I finished Ozark really fast. Yeah.
I was
that was a big one.
That was pretty cool. So like when everything started getting crazy in Toronto, I was just like told my girlfriend, like, we've been self-isolating for 2 weeks at this point. I think we're safe. My parents live up in Huntsville, so I was like, let's just go up there and like at least we can go outside and not be bothered by the cops and stuff. And then obviously we came up here and it's only been raining and snowing. But anyway, so I'm like, I got my parents into Ozark and they were just like waiting to watch season 3 of us, and they just want to finish it all. Like they wanted to do like 3 episodes back to back. I'm like, guys, we have to there's 10 episodes. Like, let's take our time. And then we decided not to watch with them, and they finished the entire season. And we came up and they were like wanting to talk about it. And so we just finished it like 2 nights ago. And Ozark, wow. Much better than season 2.
It was one of the best ones, man. I think it was honestly the best season so far. Season 2 was kind of like, oh man, really? Is this the direction the show's going? And turned it right around for this
definitely.
one.
Yep, definitely.
Yeah, they really picked it up. I agree for sure.
Yeah, Jason Bateman is like amazing, man. He I think is coming into his own as like a next level like actor director as well, though. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if he directed all of the episodes, but he might have. Like something like, yeah, man, nuts. He's amazing.
Not to mention, this is like his brainchild. I don't know if he like wrote it, but like he came up with the ideas and everything like that for the show.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Like imagine sitting back and like directing and then going in to the shot, doing the take, and then being like, okay, wait, no. So you're like acting and at the same time trying to direct where you're shooting and like where's the camera pointing, how's the lighting, what's the other actor doing, but you're also trying to act with the like, wow, man.
Yeah. It's a mind fuck for sure.
Yeah.
Are you guys gamers or not really?
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What games have you guys been playing?
I've just
I'll let you
been
go
more
first, Tess.
doing I've been more doing like Animal Crossing. Just like,
Everyone's
nice and
telling
chill.
me about this. What is this game?
It's not okay. I'll put it. It's not like it's hard to say. It's not an incredible game. I've played it a lot, but it's not like this blow your mind, like so deeply immersive. Like it's just the way I put it to Tarek is like, do you know the genre of music called chill hop?
Yeah.
Or like lo-fi hip hop? It's like if chill hop was a video game. That's what
Okay.
Animal Crossing is. It's just
Okay.
like a deep breath out. It's an exhale. And it's just nice. You build a nice little community. You got all these animals going in. Like there's some cool clothes and stuff. And you can it's your nice little canvas and everything's relaxed. There's zero combat. There's no weapons in the game. It's just like nice. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Which is probably like exactly what everyone needs in these times, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a nice game. And that's all I've been playing.
Oh, that's close. What about you, Dark?
That's fantastic. So for me, when the pandemic first, like, well, I guess when I should say that when the restrictions were laid down about like quarantining and isolating, that's when I was playing a lot of Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh,
and
yes.
Resident Evil 2 Remastered.
Nice.
Those two were like the 1 and 2. The Resident Evil 2 Remastered was awesome.
I know,
It was really,
man.
really great.
I know.
And then after that, Warzone came into, like, so I was playing that quite a bit. It was like a good 2 weeks where I was playing that religiously. And then I just picked up a new game about a week ago because it was on sale. It's called Control.
Yes. I just picked that up too.
Yeah. Oh, so have you started it?
I've started it. It's so weird. It's so weird and
It's wacky. It's
but it's
very
very cool.
out there.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. So that's kind of more of like the single player RPG style, which for both Justin and myself, like we'd say that's probably our favorite types of
Agreed.
video games
Yeah.
to play. So that's what I've been keeping busy with. Pretty much those games.
So is it good? Is Control good? Like what's the...
It is. It's like, it's weird. It's so basically you play this woman who is investigating her missing brother, and she goes to this place called the Federal Bureau of Control, and it's like this huge building.
I have heard of this.
Okay. Yeah, and like they have really strange names for everything. Like there's this weird supernatural power that has taken people over, and it causes them to like either be enemies and like attack you. It's called the hiss. They call it like hiss because it's like a hissing noise.
Okay.
So it takes people over and they attack you, or they're just like suspended in air and like you walk around. Honestly, they did an amazing job with the art direction.
Yeah.
And like designing of the game. It's like, you know that like brutalist architecture from like the 80s? It's like that. The building is that. And it's like huge open spaces on the inside, and there's like people that are just floating in midair, frozen, and like their shadows are cast on the ground and stuff. It's like, it's really incredible. But then like the whole thing is the main character that you play, she has like telekinetic abilities, so she can like throw things and levitate and do a lot of different things with that. So she's trying to find out what is this building all about and how did these people get this way and where her brother is.
Right.
So
okay.
it's cool.
I
It's
watched
like
a
a
video. This is how I heard about it. Was the Vox did a video on brutalist architecture in conjunction with that game, and like how it fits in and stuff. Yeah, it was actually made me really interested in the game. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna pick it up.
Yeah, it's good. There's a couple of gripes I have with it, like the frame rate drops when you have like a really big battle, and I hate that because like things start to get really glitchy. And then also a lot of games have been doing this lately where they do. Have you guys ever played Dark Souls?
Oh, I tried.
It's ridiculous. So they have like these campfire save sections, right? And then like a lot of different games now have adopted that, where it's like you reach a checkpoint area and that's where you will respawn if you die. But the problem is like they set them so far away from where you need to be sometimes that like you'll die really like in a stupid way, and now you have to replay all this bullshit to get back to that area. You die again. So it's like I kind of like the whole checkpoint save as you play, so I don't have to like physically be like, where can I find a checkpoint to save? And like, you know, I don't know. I don't personally like that. I know it makes the game a little bit harder, but it's also just frustrating. And I feel like when you're playing a video game, you shouldn't get that frustrated.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
You
for
know,
sure.
like,
Unless you know you
really
are. Like if you're playing Warzone, you know that's what you're getting into.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
or like
different,
you purposely set the difficulty, right?
Yeah.
And there's no difficulty slider in this game. This is the difficulty.
I see.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a storyline, it's like imagine reading a book or watching a movie and someone like pauses it and they're like, no, not yet. You got to do that again. You're not ready.
Yeah.
You're not ready.
It's
Don't
like,
read this
I
chapter
don't-
yet.
Yeah, like for me, I don't know, going back to like the RPG stuff, that's kind of why I like to play. I don't care that like how good I'm, like I don't take it as like an athletic test. Right? Like I'm usually in it just because the world's immersive and I like the story. So for something trivial to hold me back from that, that's when I get extremely frustrated and I'll stop playing the game.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right. What are your favorite RP? Like, what's your favorite game of all time in the RPG realm?
I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say. Like I'm a big fan of the Elder Scrolls series. So yeah, Oblivion and Skyrim mainly. Fallout as well, and we were both really into Mass Effect. Tarek and I actually. That was like that whole series was huge for us. I think.
Cool. I gotta say, for me, it's The Witcher, man. Like
Witcher was huge too,
and I am so excited for Cyberpunk to come out. Like I really wish they hadn't pushed it. It would have been out now. Like if they hadn't pushed it, like they would have.
I'm kind of glad they did. It's always a good sign. I think it's a good sign.
Definitely,
because it's like they did that with Red Dead Redemption.
Yes,
that's another one of my wow.
Right.
Yeah. Red Dead,
and that just and they did it so that they could perfect the game. And you know, and the worst thing is like having a game that comes out where the frame rate is shitty when you're fighting. You know what I mean? Like just get it right. Get it right. I don't care how long it takes. Just get it right.
Yep.
You know. Because when it does come out and it's like an amazing 9 or 10 out of 10 game, then it's been worth it.
So worth it, yeah. Rockstar is very good at doing that too. They take their time for sure.
Yeah. Well, actually, Last of Us 2 is coming out really soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that's Naughty Dog, and they just kill it.
Yeah.
Like every one of their games.
Definitely, man.
Yeah.
I think it's that. There's that samurai game coming out too, which I forget what it's called, but it's like an open world samurai game, which
oh wow,
it's super crazy. Awesome. And then I think Cyberpunk is like that's a few months from now, but yeah. My brother's 13 and his gaming is his life, so like we've just been doing everything. We've been started playing The Forest. I don't know if you guys have played that, but it's like a survival game. And the whole premise is like you're in a plane, your plane crashes in this forest, and there's cannibals and mutants. And you have to like literally cut down trees for wood. You got to like boil water to like clean water so you can drink it. You got to hunt, and then you have at night you have these cannibals and mutants like coming and fucking with you. It's terrifying.
It's like scary real Minecraft.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it is. That's how he describes it too.
Wow.
Yeah, so we've been playing that. Okay, well, video games aside, let's talk about music a little bit.
Oh, that's right. We haven't even touched on that at all.
Well, I wanted to like go way back, and I'd like you guys to tell me the Bluestones origin story. Maybe even like we could go back a little bit before that, and like how long you guys have known each other.
Long time. Tarek?
Yeah, I mean, we met each other in high school, right around the time, probably on the football team. We both played like St. Anne's High School football, and we sort of, we were buddies then, and we had like a very tight mutual group of friends as well, and that built up over time. So Justin and I were constantly like running with the same crew, and throughout high school and even through like the first couple years of university, we were very close friends. And that really spanned around 5 or 6 years before we started to play music together. So, like, I knew Justin had played in a couple bands, like in high school, and like performed at a couple talent shows. I was kind of doing music on my own, but like very, very private about it, and I didn't really share it with anybody. But in university, I think it was second year university, was when I remember bringing Justin a couple of things that I had recorded and been like, hey, if you want to have a listen to this and see what you think. And he did take a listen, and he was like, yeah, I like it. Let's maybe get together and just jam out a little bit, right? So just practice and see if we can work these songs out. And then after that, it's basically, the one thing led to another. We kept practicing and rehearsing. We thought we were confident enough to play our first show. So we booked a show for like just our friends pretty much at the time.
And how long ago is this? Like, what year are we talking?
That, like, I think we started, like, at least talking about music in 2009, maybe?
Yeah, probably 09 to 2010. And I mean, like, even before that, so, like, we had this routine where we would go to the gym every day. I mean, just, like, classic student life. Just go to the gym every day and then come back to Tariq's parents' house and play video games for, like, 2 hours. And then I think it was like one of those days where Tariq was like, you know what, instead, like, let me show you some music I've been writing. And my drums were there. I forget why. I think Tariq was doing another thing with someone else at the time. And so I just started jamming, and that's kind of how but it was like, I think a lot of bands kind of come to be just out of necessity. Like, I need a drummer, you're a drummer, we'll get to know each other later kind of thing. Like, we had been very close friends for like almost basically 6 years before we even picked up instruments at the same time, and like hanging out together all the time.
And this entire time you didn't know that Tarek was secretly writing music by himself in his basement?
No, I knew he played guitar, but because he had never like brought it up to me, I just thought like, oh, this is just something he does like casually, it's not like a big deal to him, but he had been doing it the whole time. And then like the songs were very impressive. I was like, yeah, we're in university, like, why? It's the first time in our lives we can start to do something, and we don't need any permission. If we want to go play shows in Toronto, no one can tell us no.
Right. Gotcha.
And
That's
so that
so
was
cool.
just like, we just started exploring that and playing shows and going to bars and.
Right.
Yeah.
And those first few songs, were they like kind of in the same genre of what you guys are in now, or was it completely different and it's evolved over the years?
I mean, kind of like, yeah, they're
I'm trying to
like,
think of what they were now.
Well, like, I mean, like, Tire Tracks would be one of them, right?
Yeah,
like, that
true.
would be one of the first, like, 6 or 7 songs that we wrote. A few of them are, like, totally not in the same genre, but I think that's, like, Tarek can speak more to this. Tarek writes all the songs, I don't. But what I saw, like, from being a part of that, like, basically seeing almost every song that Tarek wrote is, like, we were exploring, like, this is a cool song, this is a cool sound, this is a cool genre, I'm going to write a song like that. This is a cool sound from a different genre, I'm going to write a song like that. And the more you do that, the more that your common thread starts to develop, and then you start pulling on that as it develops. And so you're like, okay, now by the second or third album, you have your own thing going on.
Right, yeah. And so, like, how like, I was trying to figure out, because I know you guys have been playing music for a while. I know when you guys came by the studio, we talked about that, and then I was just like, I'm going to see how much music they actually have out, and there's not a lot. So at what point did you guys decide, like, I think we're ready? Like, when were you like, this is starting to sound good, like, other people should hear this?
I don't think it was very long after we had practiced together. I think it was like, I want to say we took some time just to sort of get acquainted with each other, and to be honest, like, I needed a little bit of time to be like, okay, how do I now play live? It's kind of weird, like, to transition from recording to performing live.
Oh yeah.
I think that maybe took Tess, like 2 months, I would say.
Yeah, definitely, like, of consistent practice.
Yeah, and then we thought we'd probably be best to have things recorded. So I remember Justin was at his parents' house at the time, and we went into the garage and we recorded all these songs, right? Recorded him doing drum takes, and I would sort of throw it together amateurly over GarageBand, and then put out some files that we could actually upload to our MySpace page, which at the time was where you uploaded your music, right? Which is, I actually wanted to check after this. I'm going to check if that still exists. I haven't checked in a while.
It probably does, man. My band from when I was 12 years old is still on MySpace.
Okay, so then I have to go look at that. So it was shortly after we had uploaded all of our music to our MySpace page, which I'm talking like probably 4 to 5 months after we had played together or started playing together, where we felt confident enough to be like, okay, it's time to go play a show, or let's try this. It was just baby steps. So it wasn't too long, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. You think 4 to 5 months isn't very, very long. But at the time, it felt like, you're building something. It felt like it was taking time.
Oh, definitely. Also, when you're young like that, you have so much time to spend doing that in those 4 or 5 months, right? Like if you're just going, not that, kids like stay in school and take that seriously, but like, it's not like you're working a 14-hour day and then like, all right, I'm going to go to band practice for like 30 minutes or an hour until I fall asleep. That's really cool. So, and then had you guys always been like, we're always going to be a 2-man band, or was the idea of maybe having a third, like a bass player in there ever a thing, or?
Yeah, kind of. I don't know, we thought about like, we didn't really have anyone who knew how to play bass and was like as interested in doing it at the level that we were, like consistent practice and like all original songwriting. And we just figured there's like a big enough scene in Windsor, and it's actually a fantastic scene. Let's just kind of break in there and like introduce ourselves, and maybe we'll make some friends and have a connection and go along, bringing in a bass player that way. Never really happened. We just kind of like locked in, and anyone else, like we did jam with some other people, but it just never felt right. And I think it was because, in part, look at this cat.
I know. He actually he looked right at the camera when he walked by. He just took a look right
hilarious.
At the camera.
He's so cute. But yeah, so like we jammed with some people. It just didn't feel right. And we kind of felt like maybe we were too close. Like we'd been friends for so long. So, we'd only been a band for like a year, but like we'd been friends for 7-8 years at that time.
Yeah, so you already have all that groundwork and
right. And just someone else, it just felt weird, and like especially because this was like the first original project that we ever did, so like to share in that vulnerability and then bring someone else in kind of felt weird too. And moreover, people were just like, no, you guys sound fine. So we're like, yeah, we don't need this. Why do it?
That was going to be my next point, was just that your sound doesn't require it. Like many like 2-man bands, it's just the guitar and the drums, and then it's like, okay, we don't have a bass, so we'll just make the guitar the loudest fucking guitar ever, and you don't need it.
And like that's basically what you did, right, Tarek? Like,
yeah, I mean, I think when it comes to like playing in a 2-piece, like you said, I guess we did ride a little bit on the like compliments that we were receiving, where it's like, you guys sound like you're this many people on stage, and that kind of helped us be like, yeah, you know what, maybe we don't need somebody else right now. But then over time, like your sound is built around you just being a 2-piece, and it's just like, now the Blue Stones sound like the Blue Stones because they've always been playing them too. So when it comes to like, I guess, writing the music now, it's different, just because although Justin and I try to we try to achieve things that we can do live, we want to do as much as we possibly can on stage. If we can do it, we will do it, We don't want to just throw it onto a track and forget about it. But that being said, when we are in studio and we're writing these songs and tracking all of these things, like, we want to service the song. So that's when you have a little point of contention there, because we don't want to not record something because we don't think we can do it live. We want to record it because we think it's going to sound good and it belongs in that song, right?
Right, yeah.
So I guess that's where it gets difficult for me to, going back to your question, for me to compensate for that sound, because sometimes just a guitar can't really do it justice. But there's certain little tricks that I've sort of adopted along the way to sort of make the guitar sound larger. So like I play with pretty thick strings. My guitar itself is thick and heavy. You know, it's like a full mahogany wood guitar. And like certain pedals that I use, you know, help me boost that low end that I need. My amp is really big. You know, it's a 100-watt closed back cab.
I remember.
So it's like, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do on the surface level just to help your sound bigger. But then after that, it's more how you play. And I think I've just adjusted how I play over the years to fit how Justin plays. And that's really what it comes down to.
Yep. And then like even going back to what Tariq was saying about writing a song in the studio and just trying to like do the best thing that you can for the song. We don't really take the approach of like start with a gigantic wall of sound. It's like start with this. What's it missing? Add that. What's it missing? Add that. So we do kind of like, I wouldn't say we write minimalist music at all. And we're definitely not taking the approach that some other two pieces do where it's like by principle has to just be two instruments. But we do kind of work from the bottom up and only add what we need to do. Right.
Okay.
We could make these songs a lot bigger, but we're just like, now we're getting too far away from like what we're actually trying to do.
And you want to be able to recreate that live, which you won't be able to do if you fuck with the sound too much, right?
Yeah, and it's a balance of like trying to be able to recreate it live, but also have it be different. Like we kind of like that the studio stuff and the live stuff is different. We always hear that, and it's good. Yeah, we like hearing that. So,
right, cool. Oh shit! Sorry, I just closed the Word document. Okay, well, I guess we kind of did touch on this already when you guys said what you do outside of making music, which I always find very interesting and very Canadian. That people need to have a day job, quote unquote. But so when did you guys kind of realize like, oh shit, like we're onto something, like we could make some money doing this anyway, and also. Part two of that question is, how did you find jobs that you're able to just take time off work and go and tour and then come back and still have a job to come back to?
I think when it comes to like actually taking it seriously, like I mean, we did this independently for a very, very, very long time. You know, we're talking from 2010 all the way up until 2016. You know, we really hit the ground ourselves. You know, we did our own touring. We set up our own shows. We released our own music videos, obviously with help of some friends that we were connected with. And we recorded and released our own music, you know, through our means. I think when it really took a turn was when, I believe it was August of 2016, when we started, our management company, who's currently still our management company, reached out to us. And they heard us on Spotify, you know, after hearing us on a couple of TV shows. And following us on Spotify, and they were like, "Do you guys have management?" And we didn't. We had gotten a lot of offers. I don't want to say a lot of offers, but we definitely had offers from people being like, "Hey, I'd like to manage you," and it ended up being like nothing, you know, or just really unorganized or not real. So we were sort of hesitant at first. We were like, "Okay, well, whatever. I guess we might as well give it the time of day. They just want to have a phone call." But that actually turned out to be one of the most important career moves that we had made, was to start working with this management company, Elevation and G&G Management, who are based in the US. And from then it was, you know, we went from signing to a management company to playing showcases for labels and agencies in the US to getting signed to a label and an agency in the US. So I think in 2016, 2017, at least for me, that's when I started to be like, okay, this is actually something that could become our full-time job. Because the steps had been taken and the signs had been shown to be like, no, this is something that's legitimate.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Whereas before it was always a question of like, do we continue? Do we just stick to our regular jobs? You know, like we could do both. You know, there was a time period where I lived in England for 2 years studying physiotherapy. So,
okay.
You know, obviously music wasn't at the front of my mind. We kind of put it on the back burner during that time. But it wasn't until that time that we got contacted that I started to think, okay, this is serious now.
Yeah. That's wicked. And then, well, let's talk about that trajectory since 2016, because it's been astronomical. I was actually looking at the stats when we reached out to you back in I think we reached out to you guys at the beginning of 2019, and just like I was looking at the Spotify, Instagram, like all the social stats, and you guys have like quadrupled pretty much everything, which is like
it's been a crazy year, man.
Yeah,
it's been a crazy year. Yeah, I mean it. Yeah, it
feels like that was a lot longer ago, right?
Yeah. We did that during, I think it was like the Be My Fire tour, right, Tess? We went to the Sideways studio.
We were there. Were we there when we were on tour with Grandson? I think so.
Yes,
yes, yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's February of 2019?
Last
19.
year.
Yeah.
Last year.
Yeah, 2019. And it's just, honestly, we're very fortunate and very blessed to have one win after the next, and it's just kind of crowd sizes grew, doubled in some places, tripled in some places. Obviously, our stream counts shot up, and we got to work with, like an absolute hero of ours, Paul Meany, on our upcoming album.
Oh, nice.
And released a few singles that have done fairly well. I mean, like we said, Shaking Off the Rust, top 5 Billboard mainstream rock right now, which like all these things are so amazing and incredible, but, and I think to a lot of people, they might see us as a new band, but like for us, this is like we've been doing this a while.
Yeah, it's like payoff.
Yeah, it's like a payoff. It's like, it's been one little building block after the next. And I think 2019, 2020 has been a pretty good year for us, barring a global pandemic.
Yeah. How has the whole pandemic like affected the band? Were you guys like touring at the time or anything like that, or getting ready for anything?
We were, funny enough, man, we were nominated for a Juno this year, and we were heading out to the Junos. Our agents booked a bunch of shows along the way. And the first show was in Winnipeg. And so I'm in Kingston, and a couple of our crew guys are in Kingston. So we all started driving down. We met Tarek, and we kept driving, and we went like past Chicago in one day, and then went from just past Chicago to Winnipeg in another day. So we get out there, and then we have like an Airbnb, sleeping, wake up, and I check my phone, and someone had texted us like, hey, the Junos are canceled. And I was like, oh, fuck, right? So I'm like, this is crazy, because like this basically the entire reason that we're doing this tour. We were going all the way out. We were going to do a show in like Seattle after that, which at the time was kind of like the epicenter of the North American pandemic. And so we're like, okay, so whatever, go to the venue, load everything in. And I remember we were having all these issues with the vehicle and stuff. We're trying to think like, how are we going to make it all the way, out to Seattle and come back home? And then we load in, and just as we're finished doing sound check, our managers are like, hey, can we jump on a call quick? And we're like, okay, sure. And they're like, yeah, this is going to be your only show of the tour tonight. Wow. And so we're like, wow, fuck, like we're going home tomorrow. It happened so fast. Cause I remember Tarek, we were talking about like, do we even want to do this show in Seattle? Like, I don't even know if we want to do it. Cause it was still on. And then, things came out that was like, okay, well, the capacity has to be lowered down to 100 people. And we're like, okay. And then as we were driving, it was like, yeah, that show's now canceled. And we're like, okay, I mean, I guess it's just one show. And then we're like, well, Vancouver's pretty bad too. And then everything just fell apart. But it was crazy that like in the span of 3 days, we were pretty sure we were doing an entire tour. And then we were like, turn away and go home.
Wow.
In like 72 hours. It was crazy.
Shit.
So then obviously had to drive all the way home too, though.
Yeah. Fuck.
Right.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Very real.
Damn. And then how long have you guys been like in lockdowns?
Since I guess we got back around March 15th.
Yeah.
Right? So probably since then, been treating it like isolating and social distancing. So actually when we came back, well, funny enough, so we came back, and from that point, because we had been in the US, we did like a 2-week lockdown or 2-week isolation. So we did that, and then I think for me, it was the next week, but I started to get COVID symptoms.
No.
I'm pretty sure I had it. I didn't get tested because the doctor I spoke with at the time was like, it's actually worse for you to come here because it's like very, very busy and I don't want you to spread it. Just stay home because you're young and you're fine. Unless it worsens, there's no reason for you to leave. So I continued to isolate for an additional 2 weeks after that. So I was pretty much in like an isolation for about a month.
Wow.
And so that took me to mid-April. And then since then, I've been able to like go out and at least, practice social distancing and wear masks and whatnot. But yeah, it's been since March 15th.
Yeah, same. Just staying inside and that's it.
Definitely, yeah. Same for me. I'm like starting to make plans to head back to Toronto now, just because we're like, as a company, we're like, well, we're 5 people, like we're allowed to be in a room together. It's okay. We'll wear masks and like do it properly. And then like we're starting to talk about like how, if anyone wants to come in for a session, how do we do that? Like we're starting to like think about it just because we're so fucking bored.
Yeah, I can imagine. I can imagine.
Well, let's talk about the new album. From anything that I've heard so far, sounding awesome. It's also sounding a bit different to the last one. So I want to talk a little bit about this new direction things are headed in and how that happened. Was it like a natural evolution or?
I would say so. I think, over the time that we had recorded or written the songs for Black Holes, we've listened to a lot of music and we played with a lot of different bands. So naturally your tastes and your influences will change. And I feel like this album is a nice way of ushering in not necessarily a new sound, but an evolved sound that includes a lot more of what we like to listen to. So, for me, I've listened to hip hop and R&B almost my whole musical life.
Which you hear a lot in Careless.
Yeah, and a lot of in Careless, of course, and a lot of pop music as well, and that sort of comes through in the writing process. I mean, I think when people hear a song like Careless, they get concerned because they're like, "Oh, the rock is gone." But it's like, well, no, it's not that it's gone. It's just, we listen to a lot of different types of music and we want to showcase that.
Definitely, yeah.
And we always want to write songs that we want to listen to ourselves. And this is the type of music that we listen to a lot of, right? So I think in the new album, you still get what you know and love about us and in our sound, but it's also opening up the doors to some new sounds that, we really enjoy listening to and we want to infuse into our music. Not purposely, but just naturally.
Yeah. Right? Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So I think people can expect definitely a little bit more of those influences, There's songs like Grim and even Careless where like I kind of have a little bit of a hip hop cadence on the way that I deliver the lyrics, and it's just that's what sounds best for the song, and that's what we always want to do. We want to do what sounds best for the song. So you can expect that. And there's also Paul's influence too, and that's been massive. Like
Let's talk about that. Like you said, that was like a huge thing. Like how did you guys find out that he was working on it, or did you like ask him until he was like, okay, let's do it, or what happened?
Yeah, basically, we were like, I know Tarek had messaged him a couple times on Instagram and just trying to be like, hey, like this is something like we've been big fans of yours, and like we had some traction at the time. This was with Black Holes, and we'd always been curious about working with him because we're big Mute Math fans. And then he produced the last 21 Pilots record. And so, to be honest, before I hadn't really known very much about 21 Pilots except for like the songs that were on the radio. And then when I saw that he produced that, I was like, what? Like that Paul Meany from Mute Math, and like had to look it up, and it was like, okay, I didn't realize he was a producer. And so Tariq, I'm definitely a big Mute Math fan. Tarek is definitely a bigger Mute Math fan than I am. We've seen them like many, many times. Like I can't even remember how many. And so to know that he was getting into production was really cool. So we told our managers, like, that's our number one. That would be like shooting for the stars. Don't expect it, but that would be really cool. Our manager's like, give me 2 days. Comes back and he's like, well, he really likes your music and he's really into. We're like, what? You talked to him? And that was
no way.
So crazy. And he sent us this email like because he's like, okay, I need to hear some demos. I saw you live. I think he either saw, I don't know if it was the Sideways session, but I think it was Audio Tree session that we did. And he was like, I think you seem like you're cool guys. The music's cool. Give me some demos. So we gave him just like, here's a folder, like pick and choose on whatever you want. Don't really expect you to go through them. He gave us like 2 paragraphs on all of these songs, like 30 demos.
Holy shit.
This one, I'm understanding the vibe. I don't really know what the story is, but I think this one has a lot of potential. I'm giving this one like an essay, man. It was unbelievable.
So
Did
cool.
not expect it. So yeah, and the way that Tarek puts it, he puts it really well. The phrase like "don't meet your heroes" is the complete opposite of this. Like, if you are a fan of Paul Meany, you need to meet the guy. He's so cool, so nice, very hospitable, very humble. He like the first time we met him was him inviting us to stay in his house. We'd never talked to him before, and he was like, stay at my house. I have a spare room. You guys can stay there. We'll like work on music every day. And he meant like, wake up, have a coffee, come up here. We'll break once for lunch, and then we'll go to bed. Like, that's it.
Yeah.
Shit.
We did like demo writing for 12 hours a day. And he is just someone who like music is his entire world.
Yeah.
And he just soaks himself in it, and that's all he wants to do, and it's what he's very good at. So yeah, I mean, just kind of like staying in your lane and sticking to something
Right.
as a success story. He's definitely a product of that.
Did he bring anything like very different to the way you guys record to this album? Like, was he like, why don't you guys try this? And you're like, what the fuck are you talking about? But you try it and it sounds really awesome, or anything like that?
Yeah, I think the one thing I can definitely say he changed was the way that I write lyrics for songs. Because I think before, normally how I write a song is like the music comes first with like a good riff. Just from me kind of messing around on my guitar, messing around on the computer. And then from there, the song builds, and lyrics are basically the final thing. And I think I used to treat lyrics as almost like an add-on, where as long as the melody is good, then it doesn't really matter what I'm saying. But he... Sorry.
He like crept in very slowly, like started here.
He wants to be on cam, man. Who knows?
That's it. Star.
He really like shined a light on, no, you have to think about what you're saying, and you have to think about writing a story and writing something that people can connect with, because you might think that it is the last little piece to a song, but like that could be the difference maker between a hit and not a hit, somebody's ability to connect with your lyrics. So I think he pushed me in that regard to really think about writing good lyrics and think about like, what was the message that I'm trying to convey here, and how am I saying it? And that was one major thing he brought to the table. Apart from that, like, the guy's just a production wizard, man. He just so cool. The little thing, he'll throw a reverse on something, or he'll want to capture like the sound of a drill going into a piece of wood, and then he changes it into this really cool percussive noise. Like,
Wicked.
There's just so many cool things that you're mentioning that, yes, in reality, he actually does.
Yeah.
He'll run
that's great.
drums through like a tape recorder so that you just have a different texture on the drums, and ends up sounding so much better than you ever thought. It's just really, really cool stuff production-wise that he has in his brain. That neither Justin or I could do on our own, No,
so. Like, honestly, well beyond the scope of my imagination, even. Like, I remember there was times when we were like he would just get into the zone, and it was just like working on something, and he'd bust out the piano, and the first time he did that, me and Tarek looked at each other, we're like, like, literally Paul Meany is playing on our album. That's fucked.
Oh my God, that's so cool, man.
But yeah, so he would pull out the keyboard and like throw in a sample and like speed it up or like pitch shift it, and I'm like, I have no idea where this is going. And then there was just like, he starts developing the sound, and Tarek and I just looked at each other like, that, now I get it. Like, I know what he's trying to do.
Right,
and
right.
He had this from the beginning, and it's just like, to see it being built from stage one to like it. Honestly, mind-blowing.
That's so cool. It sounds like there should have been some cameras there to capture the moments, and like maybe...
Yeah, so there was like, I was reading about this project where this singer-songwriter went into studio. I don't even think she had anything written, and the whole project was going to last 72 hours. I think she called it like the 72-hour EP. And then like live streamed the entire thing. Like never stopped for 72 hours.
Damn.
And so anyone could log in at any time and like see what are they working on right now and just kind of like watch and then like leave, and they would go to sleep in the studio. You could like see it on camera.
Watch them sleeping.
I think that's a little weird, but yeah. And I was like, that would be cool to do something like that for the next album, at least even just for a little bit. Like, here's what 2 straight days in the studio looks like.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Have that be some bonus stuff that like the diehard fans can buy. Like, I think that would be very cool.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
We definitely have to filter some conversations.
My God, yeah.
I also wanted to talk about the album art that I've been seeing on the new stuff. It's really cool, like tattoo logo design stuff. I'm really feeling it a lot. Who's doing those designs for you?
It's a guy named Sequence. Well, he goes by Sequence on Instagram, and it was found by one of our managers, George. He was just kind of like browsing internet or Instagram and saw this really cool art that this guy was putting out, and it was that t-shirt sort of tattoo style. And he sort of pitched it to us as like, hey, would you want this guy to whip up some single art ideas for you guys? And we both really liked his style, and we were like, yeah, absolutely. And that was it. We kind of developed a relationship with him. So he's doing all the art for like the singles.
Okay.
And he'll probably have something to do with the album art as well.
Yeah. Speaking of the new album, when do you think it'll be coming out?
It's hard to say now.
Right. I guess COVID affected that too, then, right?
Because I mean, like, you want to always tour behind a release, right? So we're still debating, but yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, we thought it was going to be this summer, but now we don't know. Maybe it will be, but we're not sure. But yeah.
Shit. It's really crazy how this is like just affecting everything.
I gotta roll soon, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Like,
Same.
this is good. We got to the end of my questions about the music. Some very quick things. We'll just jump to the last three here.
Sure.
Tell me the most underrated artist out there right now, in both of your opinions.
Molat and the Humble.
Yeah.
Easily for me.
Yeah, I think I'm on it's either those guys or they're called Night Moves from Minneapolis. I'll cast my vote for Night Moves.
Night Moves, and sorry, what was the first one?
Mo Lauda, M-O, and then Lowda, and The Humble.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Best new band that you've come across?
Oh, the Amazons. Yesterday I was just listening to them. I messaged Justin about it too.
Yeah.
They're called the Amazons. They're out of the UK. They're like a rock, alt-rock band. Really, really good, man. I would definitely check those guys out.
I'm trying to see. There was someone. They're called Quartz. Quartz.
Okay.
I don't know if they're new, but they're new to me.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. And then last one, if you guys have your phones on you, tell me the last song you listened to, and then show it to the camera so we know you're not lying.
Oh no! I hope it's a
I guess
good
I'm gonna
one.
turn this off. I don't want to. Yeah, I don't know if you can see this. Time is.
If you hold it in front of you, yeah.
Yeah, Time is Dancing by Ben Howard.
Nice. Oh, that's a great. That's awesome.
I guess mine is Hollywood Love feat Gunna, and that's H-Al and Gunna.
Sick.
H-Al is pretty great. He's like a Peruvian R&B hip hop guy. It's awesome.
Wicked.
Yeah, it's almost like if The Weeknd was a little bit more, I don't know, was a little bit more thug and was from Peru.
Okay.
That's what he would be.
I like that a lot. I've been listening to the new Eve Tuber album, and holy hell, man, that guy is
Good stuff.
insane. I heard the first song and I was just like, what the fuck is this? And like, I haven't stopped listening to the album. It's so good.
Nice.
Cool. Guys, that's really all I needed from you today. So thank you so much for taking the time.
Sweet.
Thanks for having us on this show.
Yeah, man. And I really look forward to being able to see you guys live whenever we're allowed.
Yeah,
I look forward to playing.
Cool.
All right, guys.
Awesome.